He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Attention, citizens of fair Gotham, and welcome once again to Bat Minute of the Phantasm, the show that gives you all a nice, big smile 3 days a week, I hope. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And here to come into your room, talk for a while. Podcast's very good for the digestion, I understand. It's me, Niall McGowan.
Stay out of my room. I don't need you lurking around at night. It's tough enough to sleep as it is.
That's like every time, John, every time you go to reach for your lamp, I'm just right there beside it, just staring at you for some reason.
Listeners, I can't get rid of this guy. Help me get rid of him. Someone who might be able to help me get rid of him is our wonderful guest. A new guest. We are joined today by Alexia from the Titanic Talkline.
I think your problem is going to be if I get rid of him, I'm just going to take his place and start turning your light on and off for you. So I don't know if I'll help so much as replace it with a new nuisance.
No, I'm still in the mindset though. I remember my mum told me when I was a little kid, she was like, you can't flip the light switches on and off because it basically it like lets people know you're in danger, so the police come round.
Exact thing happened. My brother told me that as well. And to
it's
this
just
day,
to stop you being like a jerk.
Yeah, but to this day, I'm always like, "Hey, don't flick that light. Just do it once and then leave it."
It's like
parents are full of crap.
It's like how parents tell you not to turn the lights on in the car, let the overhead light on in the car. It's like you do it, and they're like, "Oh my god, everyone's gonna die!" I'm like, "Oh god."
I used to get that as well. I'd put it on, and my dad would be like, "What are you doing?" No, it's basically the same situation. It's like, it means you're in danger.
Basically,
you need to turn it off.
It's like they tell me it has the same energy as like the beacons of Gondor are lit.
So it's not happened to me yet because I'm not a dad. But I have several friends who are all fathers now, and it's been amazing to watch them morph into like the whole obsessions with the temperature of the house.
Oh no!
Making sure nobody touches the thermostat, all this kind of thing. It's like, why do you care, man? It's like, do you realize how much money that goddamn thermostat has cost me?
I'm paying for that. God damn it!
I was like, it happened, man. All of a sudden, I just realized you're wearing a polo shirt and shorts. What the hell is going on here?
Oh god, we're not here to talk about our traumas though. We're going to talk about all of these characters have traumas of their own, don't they? We are here today to talk about minute 41, and the minute starts with assuring Sal that he's your buddy guy, and it ends with the Bat breaking the law once more.
Yeah, it's a regular Judas Priest, that Batman.
Yeah, breaking the law.
Oh, I remember I used to post that every time during the lockdowns and stuff when I had to nip out to the shop more than once. Because I had a whole thing, so you're not supposed to go out to the shop more than one time a day. And it's like, but I forgot the milk. And I had to go out, and in my head I was singing Judas Priest breaking the law. Nipping over to.
You're a rebel.
You're not allowed to forget anything.
No. If you do, that's tough. You just have to starve.
Yeah. But Alexia,
yes,
I didn't realize until just prior to us pressing record. But one of our first questions to the guests as they come on is like, what's their history with the movie and what's their history with the Batman animated series and all that business. And I kind of assumed, I was like, well, you're around the same age as me and John, so I figured you would have grown up with this movie and stuff as well. But I think there might be a twist to that assumption.
Yeah, small twist. I'm turning into a Titanic Minute guest in that I've only seen 2 minutes of this movie, and I've never seen an episode of the animated show.
Wow. Wow.
No, we like that, though, because it brings a different perspective to what we're watching. Like we're in the weeds here. We might not be looking at things properly.
No, it's definitely because we had so many people come on who are just like, this is the greatest film ever made. I know every line of it and stuff. So they have a fresh perspective. So what did you think of the 2 minutes that you've been presented with?
I liked it. I was kind of doing the same thing with Marvel in that I didn't grow up with the comic books. I didn't grow up with any of the old movies and the TV shows, any of that, just by circumstance of how I, grew up and what have you. And I'm experiencing all these things now in like the modern era. So I really enjoyed it. And I think it's partially because I've been told so much about this movie.
So you do know some things, like, you know, the reputation.
I do. I know that this is a lot of people's favorite. I know that for a lot of people who aren't even really into the Batman films or are fans would have seen this one, that they really like it. I know that it's really sort of held up to a very high standard. And even in just watching the 2 minutes of it, I got a sense of who is related to who and how. And I think that's really important. It's really difficult to jump into a movie, you know, partway through and be like, what the hell is going on in here? And yeah, sure, I don't know exactly everyone's name. I don't know how they're related, but I'm like, all right, I figured out that this guy's in trouble because he's talking to that dude, and this girl's in trouble because Batman just blew into her house. So I've got some ideas of what's happening, and I have no context, but I'm kind of able to pick it up and be like, all right, I can follow this.
Yeah, okay.
That speaks to the quality right there. That's amazing.
I should explain then, that guy in the purple suit, he's called the Joker. Okay.
I didn't know how many spoilers we were throwing out.
Yeah. Should also ask though, Alexia, because you might be you might not be aware, but
probably not.
Do you know who does the voice of the Joker in this?
I do. It's Fire Lord Ozai.
The very same.
It's Mark Hamill.
Yeah. Well, they say for a brief moment, if I say it's Mark Hamill, you might also be like, "Who the hell is that?" So,
I didn't grow up under that big of a rock. I love Mark Hamill. I don't follow celebrity culture a lot because I'm subversive for some reason, but I wish he was my best friend. I wish he was my friend. Every interview he does, I think it's hilarious. He rules Twitter. Yeah. I love his performances. I love him. He's amazing.
Yeah, he seems like the best guy, doesn't he?
Doesn't he?
Yeah, it seems like a lovely, warm, and particularly now he's got the beard and stuff too. It's like he's even more kind of cuddly looking. So
he's a man who suits a beard.
He definitely suits that. I remember he shaved it briefly, and I was like, oh no, go back. Although I did bump into someone just yesterday, because they're ready to go out to. I was called in for some emergency babysitting services because Frankie Goes to Hollywood played their first live reunion gig in 35 years.
Yep, and I didn't find out till it was happening.
Yeah, it's for free in the streets of Liverpool. It was part of the whole Eurovision celebration. So I was just like, calling, could you look after the kids tonight? We're going down to see this. One of the kids had on Batman the animated series, and I just mentioned I just mentioned that Mark Hamill was the Joker, and our friend Kate was just like, what? Really? That's him? And I was like, yeah, it was one of those things. I felt a bit bad then because he's almost more famous for doing the Joker now than he is Luke Skywalker. And she had that kind of look of oh, you, just because I didn't know. I was like, oh, I didn't mean it that way.
Oh, you're in her bad books now.
Yeah, but
I don't know how many of the listeners, probably a lot of them, have seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, but as I mentioned, he plays Fire Lord Ozai, who also speaks with this deep, booming voice often. And I never put them together. So I was doing the same thing that you were doing, Niall, where I was like, Mark Hamill, and then seeing the Star Wars credits and being like, not making that connection at all, until I watched an interview where Mark Hamill does this deadpan impersonation of Harrison Ford telling him something. And then I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I heard it. He said, I think probably everyone's seen this interview where he's mimicking Harrison Ford and he goes, kid, it ain't that kind of movie. But when he said that, I was like, there we go.
It's crazy though. It's because I remember seeing him doing an advert way back in the day, some old advert from the 80s, and he does Yoda in it. And it's like his Yoda voice is better than Frank Oz's Yoda
it's
voice.
Amazing.
Why doesn't he do more of these kind of they could be getting him in to do half the voice cast for these Star Wars cartoons they're making, but.
Every once in a while, I see the credits for a show, and I'm surprised by how many voices a person has played. I think there's actress name. I don't know if it's Grey DeLille or Grey DeLisle.
Yeah, but she's very, very prominent in the old Batman sphere too. Has played Catwoman dozens of times in dozens of projects. If not, also Poison Ivy. If not, also literally Batgirl. Any
everywhere.
Female character. Yeah.
She's also Azula in Last Airbender, and she's 2 or 3 main/secondary characters in this old show I used to really like called Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. And she does a ton. I love that show. And she does a ton of the background characters too. And just seeing like every once in a while the credits would go by and her name would be next to like 7 characters in an episode. And you're just like, excuse me.
Yeah.
How can you have that many voices in you?
I think I have 2. Like that's kind of it.
It got me thinking actually as well, because I was noting that is robot bride over in the corner there, Hazel. Wearing a different shade of purple to the Joker's suit. And I remembered recently that like they had Jack Nicholson's Joker suit showed up on the Antiques Roadshow, which is like antique. What the hell? I was almost like, I was born before that movie came out. Like, what are you talking about, antique?
I've got bad news for you, Niall. We're old.
But like one of the big things in it was that, and as well as I'm sure we did mention it back that season, but so long ago, they were specifying that one of Jack's demands was like the shade of purple of the suit had to match the LA Lakers. Like their shade of purple, because
I think that did come up, yeah.
That's a good purple.
It's okay. That's a fantastic purple, and I noticed because this shade of purple is distinctly much more lighter than, and then they do that weird Joker redesign later on, and like they actually, you're so mixed up about what's going on when they redesigned his face because it's so terrible. That you didn't know. It's like, oh yeah, they also changed his suit. They changed it to like a darker shade of purple. But because I remember like on the Antiques Roadshow, they brought it in and they're like, here's a Batman cowl. It's worth like $4,000 to $6,000. And they're like, here's a screen worn belt. It's worth $40,000 to $60,000. And then here's the Joker's suit worn by Jack Nicholson. It's worth $100,000 to $150,000.
Get out.
Yeah.
Get
and
out.
Fiona Bruce, the lady who hosted, was just like, she was probably like, what? Like, we have coins brought in here from ancient Rome that don't go for that kind of money. What do you mean it's $150,000? But
that's a weird show. Do you get that in America? And it's a very English show, the Antiques Roadshow. It's like people come on with antiques, and most of the time they're not actually looking to sell them. It's
they just
bizarre.
want to get them evaluated, just to see how much
Which
they're
makes
worth.
for odd television, though, doesn't it? Because it's like, oh, it's worth that much, is it? It's like, yeah. Are you looking to sell? No, it's a family heirloom. I'm not selling it. I just want to.
I think it is in America, because I know there's an episode of Frasier that revolves around them taking like an old clock to the Antiques Roadshow while it's in town, and they're even Marty Crane, like the dad, even he knows what the Antiques Roadshow is, kind of thing. So I assume but then I don't know. Like, have you ever sat down on a Sunday evening to watch the Antiques Roadshow?
I used to watch the Antiques Roadshow when I was younger. We didn't have cable, so we'd watch PBS a lot, and I was always on there.
Oh, nice. Did you ever bring anything on? Did you have anything lying around the house?
No.
No,
we weren't lucky enough to be in possession of such family heirlooms that we didn't want to sell.
It came to Liverpool recently, and I know someone who went down to it thinking like, oh, we've got like an old rocking chair that's been up in the attic for years, it's bound to be worth something. And they're like, nope. It's literally worth like, it's not worth the bus fare you spent to get here.
It always upsets me on that show when someone's like, here's all of my grandfather's medals from the war, and it's like, yeah, these are all worth like £100. Yeah, great, thanks for that.
But that was the thing though, because in the past week as well, they had Jack has reemerged from his cocoon. Jack Nicholson for the scene in public at the Lakers game. I don't know if I don't follow American basketball, obviously, but I think that the Lakers have finally like gotten to like nationals or something for the first time.
What's the big basketball thing? What is it?
What the regionals? You do roller derby, right? Alexia, you must know the sporting terms. Come on, help us out here.
I was distracted by a headline because I just Googled Jack Nicholson. And there's a headline from 2 days ago that says, Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio were scared for their lives when co-star pulled a real gun in $291 million Martin Scorsese film. I still get chills.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I missed that discussion because I was like, what year is this?
Yeah. I'll say that's because Jack Nicholson, he's like 85 or something now.
Oh,
and he's been
idea.
like retired, he's been out of the public eye. And apparently it's because the Lakers have finally gotten to like the upper echelons of like some basketball championship. He's reemerged for the first time in like a decade.
That's
be
the
like
only way to get him out the house, is it?
That's pretty much it, yeah. He's like, he always had courtside seats for whenever the Lakers were doing really well, and then they weren't doing well for so long. And then when now they're finally there again, he's like, I'm back, baby. And they did a whole thing where apparently, like, when he showed up, he was just sitting there minding his own business, and then up on the big Jumbotron, they started playing clips from Batman and The Shining and stuff, and then like, it's Jack Nicholson's here, everybody.
I bet he hated that. But you know what? I don't care if he hated that, because what you just told me there, right? He's a fickle fan. He's a fickle fan. Jack, I'm calling you out right now. You should be courtside when they're not doing well.
Yeah, well.
Nobody likes a fair weather fan, man.
Exactly.
Maybe he thought, though, like, if they know that I'm there, it'll spruce them up a little bit. So he's like, okay. I thought I could retire from my mascot status with the Lakers, but now they're flagging a little bit, so I need to show up and give them a bit more juice.
I like the idea that he is the LA Laker.
He should be on like the logo and everything.
Yeah.
Like all they're part of the team uniform is to like do really pointed eyebrows and like shave your. But
so in this minute,
yeah, within the minute, yeah.
I actually weirdly have comments about the minute.
Hey.
Oh, well. Do you want any context for what's actually happening here, or do you kind of get what the deal is?
You can go ahead and give me context.
Well, basically, this old guy he was the Joker's previous boss. He's like an old time gangster who's like on death's door, and there's a mysterious figure that everyone thinks is Batman, but it's not Batman, who's killing all these old mobsters. And this guy's so frightened that he's like, "All right, I gotta go to the Joker to get him to kill Batman for me." And the Joker is, it turns out he might not be 100% trustworthy, which is kind of a stunning development, considering you'd think that everyone would know that by now. But he's all like, "Oh, so you're definitely going to help me out, right?" And he's like, "Oh, of course." But yeah, that's basically what's happening here.
When you're that desperate, you'll go to someone like him. And it's interesting you say that, because there's a shot at the very start that am I reading too much into this, right? I love this. There's an ominous, in my mind, shot of the robot housewife chopping. The one we saw earlier in the movie. Now she's rusted and broken, and she's still chopping nothing. Now, I thought the way it was framed, where they're they're behind the knife, and the knife is going up and down and up and down. I thought that this is kind of visually telling us that Valestra should not be trusting the Joker here. It's like it's separating them, and it's also like a knife in the back kind of thing.
It's also it's like a guillotine. It's just like everything he's saying now, because this is the Joker's vow of like, well, no matter what happens, no way is anyone going to hurt my pal Sal. Which is just nearly everything the Joker says is a lie. So it's like having that in an ominous knife in a guillotine pose, chopping right in front of his face is just like. But yeah, I'm a little sad though, because this is near enough. I think we get like one more minute of him and a flashback later, but this is near the end of our time with Abe Vigoda.
No.
Are you familiar with Abe Vigoda, Alexia? The legendary decrepit old man for about 200 years who kept showing up in things since 1921.
Oh man, no.
He's well, have you seen the classic film Good Burger?
A while ago, yes.
Yeah, he was the old guy in Good Burger.
Of all the ones to pick, Good Burger.
That's
I just googled him. I recognize
Hugely
his
acclaimed
face.
actor. Yeah.
He's in The Godfather. That's what he's mostly. He's like was one of the. Apparently, he got chosen out of like 500, cold call auditions with Francis Ford Coppola, and he's like he wasn't really known at that time. A lot of people wouldn't really know him even after The Godfather. But yeah, he was like he started off like way back when, got into grew up in New York. His father was like a beloved tailor in the town and stuff, and then he went to World War II, and from that afterwards he got like the GI Bill, where they kind of pay for veterans to like go off and learn a trade now, we owe you boys, all that kind of thing. He went into the American theater wing, which was started basically for GIs.
Yeah.
And from there, he was a really acclaimed stage actor for a while. He did a lot of Broadway. He actually really, really famous for doing Richard III, which was because we talked about back in Batman Returns that like Danny DeVito's Penguin is kind of weirdly based on Richard III.
Oh,
so,
totally, yeah.
Yeah, they know everything's connected. And also Stacy Keach, who's also in this movie, he's like on stage. Apparently, he's like a legendary King Lear. Everyone keeps talking about like, oh, how, if you ever wanted to see King Lear done properly, you'd need to see Stacy Keach doing it. Basically, and apparently it's the same thing with Abe Vigoda as Richard III. But from then, just went on to like some random things he was in. Like he's in episodes of Dark Shadows. Of course, went on to be adapted by our boy Tim Burton in what may still be his worst film.
I like it.
Yeah. Are you a big Tim Burton guy, Alexia? Have you been keeping up with him, or is it basically there's Avatar? And it's Titanic and never the twain. Nothing else.
Yes and no. Like, I liked Nightmare Before Christmas, but I'm a bigger fan, I think, of Henry Selick's work. So I really liked Coraline.
Yeah. I know someone, I was talking to someone recently who apparently she has boycotted the Oscars since Coraline lost to Up.
Hey, at least it lost to something good, though.
Yeah,
so good.
I know she refers to Snuff. She refers to Up as a cancer snuff movie. She was outraged. Yeah, she really hates Up, and then she was like, "It lost to that. That's the thing it lost to. Come on." And she's like, "Yeah, I watch Coraline several times a year. It's an absolute masterpiece. I will never watch the Oscars again. That was a disgrace." And stuff. I was like, "Oh man, you really took that personally, I guess." But,
yeah, I just don't watch him because I find him boring.
Come on, it's only a minor 6-hour ceremony. Like, what's the problem?
Oh, this is the problem with... I'm going to have to just say it. American television, right? Sports, events, things like that, they're too long. Cut them down. If we do an award show, maybe an hour. So that's it. That's all you're getting. Screw it. You've got other things to be doing.
I agree. I think that is obscenely long. It's annoying. I don't want to... No. I have friends who will get together and like have parties for the Oscars and the Academy Awards. It's like, this is an all-day thing. I don't want. No.
Yeah. There's like a Super Bowl Sunday too. Like I've never partaken in it, but like I see people like that's the day. The whole day is the Super Bowl Sunday. Like how long does the game last? It doesn't matter how long the game lasts.
Nobody cares about that part.
It's going to be there's a halftime show that goes on for 5 hours. So.
And all they're going to do afterwards is talk about whether or not the singer was pregnant, even though it was really obvious she was.
I never know. Janet Jackson's boob might pop out again. You know, it could happen.
Oh God.
Yeah, but Ava Vigoda also featured in episodes of Superboy, Tuma. It's not a Tuma. Which apparently I'd never heard of this, but apparently it's an old cop show based on the adventures of some real life cop who was like a master of disguise or something. Like, I guess he just, and the guy, like the real life cop would like he would appear in episodes, like just from time to time. Back in the days of like, I guess there was like celebrity cops or something back then.
Amazing. And please tell me it's called Gene Parmesan.
No, apparently his name was like John Tuma. Like that's why it's called Tuma.
Okay.
Yeah. He's also in North, which is the baby Elijah Wood movie where he wants to go he hates his parents. His parents are George and Elaine from Seinfeld.
Oh yeah.
And he goes off to find like other new swankier parents. And like it's all what do you call him? Rob Reiner made it. And it's all his celebrity friends play, like, so it's Dan Aykroyd's one of the parents. And he does it, but he's like a Texan oil baron or some crap. And there's a comedy scene about him singing a song or something. And then like he goes to Alaska to find new parents, moves in with Eskimos played by Abe Vigoda and Kathy Bates.
Oh God. Oh no.
And you're kind of like, this movie's already terrible, but now it's just wandered into racism.
I was going to say borderline offensive, and it's not borderline.
Oh, it's just flat out offensive. It's terrible movie. I don't think Rob Reiner's ever recovered from that. I was thinking like he's not made a good film since. North was like the beginning of his like that's the signal that it's done. But yeah. There's such things as something called vasectomy, a delicate matter.
Is that like a PSA or something?
No, it's like a 90-minute comedy about like some woman's just like, I want my husband to get a vasectomy, and it's Paul Sorvino as the husband. It's him just trying to avoid getting a vasectomy for like the duration of the movie, I guess.
That's like awful.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
on
like
many levels.
a sitcom episode that went rogue.
It also starred, Paul Sorvino, and the guy who played Blackula was in there as well.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, and also again in terms of like racially sort of like he was Joe versus the volcano. Don't know if we've all seen Joe versus the volcano. Sort of.
I actually haven't. All I know of it is that podcast about it.
Yeah, of course, a friend of the show, Jar Farden, did a whole Jar Fan Tierney did a show about Joe versus the volcano, and I think I was on for an 8 Vigoda minute because I remember us going like, so he's supposed to be like the chief of the Hawaiian tribe they meet, and you're like, and I think the joke is like, but it's Abe Vigoda. He's very clearly like a grizzled old New York guy, like he's not a tribal leader of anything. And you're like. Yeah, that's not funny. It's just not done this joke, man. It would have been so much better for us.
Don't like that. I do not like that.
But yeah, of course, then most famously, The Godfather and Good Burger, which is of course imminent hiatus episode treatment, and he's also in the great 80s schlocky horror craptacular classic The Stuff. Which is a movie about like a vagrant spots some like white goo growing out of the ground and tastes it, and he's like, this is really tasty, and then somehow it just ends up in like it's the new like frozen yogurt. Everyone it's like a satire on consumer capitalism, so they're just pushing The Stuff on everyone, and it's just like they have Pepsi commercials but they've just put in The Stuff instead of Pepsi.
I like that because it works on a very interesting level satirically, that it's just called The Stuff.
Yeah.
Because it could be anything. It doesn't matter. The
tagline is like there's never enough, even when you've had enough. There's never enough of the stuff and all this. Like, and it turns out the stuff is actually like an alien that like takes controls of people, and like there's just great scenes of like people like billowing up foam out of their mouths and their head contorting in weird shapes. Like it's a proper 80s schlocky, gory horror and stuff.
Gross.
But yeah, there's a great ad. Abe Vigoda's in one of the ads where he's just sitting with his wife at the dinner. They're at a really swanky restaurant, and she's just like, this is terrible. And he's like, wow, oh, that's really nice. What's the matter with you? And she's like, where's that stuff? And then they just have like, the stuff, go get this crap new thing that's coming out everywhere and stuff. And yeah, it ends with like the people, they track down the people who are like, pushing the stuff, and like all these rich fat cat millionaires, and they make them eat the stuff because it's basically going like, well, all these things that you're flooding into America, the opioid crisis, junk food, all this kind of stuff. Well, we went to the people who are manufacturing it and made them have it.
Hey.
So it's good. It's a good movie, this stuff. But yeah, that is just getting that out of the way though, because we barely really see Abe Vigoda after this. He's premium.
I think you're right. I think it's just one more little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, tragic.
Oh, it is a shame. But there's a bit here that I really liked this at the start. It's when he says, Joker, well, actually Sal first. I thought he was crying rather than sweating. But he's sweating because he's so scared. And then Joker ends up, he says he's gonna look out for him, and he makes him smile and says, "That's it. That's what I want to see. A nice big smile."
That's great.
That was ominous as hell.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. It's just literally every line Mark Hamill delivers, he's just like, he's always great as the Joker, but he's like, this is like his best performance, I think. So yeah, they go, that's it. That's what I like to see. A nice big smile.
Oh, it goes from like happy and jokey to like creepy.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And yeah, it is. You actually do consider how much of an abusive, horrible man Valestra is. You do feel a little bit sad for him, because he is just like, he's sweating, but he does have this little smile, like, oh really? You're gonna help me? Like, all my problems are over. And like, Sal, oh man, like, they're about to end permanently, man. I'll tell you that.
Spoiler alert, Niall.
Yeah. I mean, you wonder if he kills him right here and now. Like, or did they hang about for another couple of hours going like, so how's the rest of the gang? It's like, they're all dead. I keep telling you.
I reckon that. The Joker seems like someone who'll draw it out.
Yeah. Just sitting around doing like, you want to make some dinner? It's like, we'll go out for Chinese food.
Gets a delivery and all kinds of stuff. Gets a movie from Blockbuster.
It's just like, you're paying, right? It's like, I already brought $5 million. Like, what the? Like, want me to pay for this as well? Maybe that's why he kills him. He's like, wouldn't even fork out for some Chinese food? God damn it!
Yeah, they fall out over that.
Yeah.
Or they get the wrong movie from Blockbuster. It's like, no, I didn't want that. I wanted a romantic comedy.
He had to sit and make him watch North. Like, I hear the guy who plays the Alaskan grandfather is really great. I have to say, I'm personally offended by this movie, Sal. And yeah. So then we cut to Andrea and Arthur Reeves, having coming back from yet another dinner. I was actually confused for a while because I was like, is this the same dinner they were going to like 20 weeks ago or something? It's like, has it been that long? But no. I think we have seen Arthur Reeves out and about since. So this is another dinner that they've gone to.
I suppose he's really trying hard to get with her, isn't he? So maybe he's asking her out to dinner like 3 times a week.
Well, her tone is like, thanks for another wonderful dinner. Like, it has a kind of like, yep, this is every night now. As long as I'm here, got to deal with this guy. But
well, there was me briefly defending him, kind of. But at the same time, what he does here, I don't think it's cool, where he's not even remotely subtle. And he says to her, as she's about to go into her house, it's not good to go to bed on an empty stomach. We could stay up, talk for a while. Yeah. It's like, we know what you mean.
It's the change in tone of his voice. Talk for a while.
Yeah, sure. She ain't feeling it, man.
Yeah. As someone who's only seen 2 minutes, Alexia, what did you clock of this relationship? I
wrote down in my notes that this is the least convincing goodbye in history.
Perfectly
like from him, from her, or from both of them?
From her.
Oh.
It's one of those where it feels like it's their first date. It's not, but it feels like this is the first date and she has no intention of messaging him back on Bumble again or on Tinder or whatever.
Yeah.
This is very much, okay, thanks, okay, bye. Like,
we'll do something again soon. Yeah.
I'll call you. No, don't call me. I'll call you.
Yeah. Although, the thing is then, because she comes in, I guess you would know the context for this then, Alexia, is that Andrea Beaumont, the red-haired lady here, this is a woman that Bruce Wayne used to go out with before he was Batman. They were so in love. Oh, sorry, you do know the context for this.
I quickly Googled the summary before.
Oh, okay.
Just so that I could kind of follow the conversation.
Yeah. Because I got beef with Andrea in these minutes because of backstory stuff.
I have a separate beef with her, but yours first.
Oh no, by all means, go on. What's the beef?
She's every seductress character ever.
Yes.
It's every single one. It's the hair, it's the lipstick, it's the outfit, it's the way she talks, it's the way she moves. Everything about her. I'm clearly a woman who's in charge of my sexuality. See me walk. See me talk. See me be in charge as a woman, girl boss. It's just, there's just something about it where it's like every move and every word she says is like, I'm a woman of sophistication and education. See the way that I say things? The only one I see controlled by their parents is you. Hear the inflection in my voice. I'm in charge.
That's perfect. Oh my god.
I think it also the only person, the first person this season has come in with beef with Andre. Everyone, but the thing is, most of the people come on who are like, "Oh, I love her so much." They're all guys. So there's like, hey.
Well, there you go. It's proof, right?
Yeah.
I don't hate her. It's just like wow. Broad strokes here were used to fill her out, and I know we're jumping ahead slightly to the next minute, but. Because the next minute, the conversation bleeds into the next minute, and her affect continues. And stereotypically, she's, folded arms, drinking out of a cup and looking over her shoulder, tossing her hair, glaring at everyone. And then as soon as she's alone and closes the door, she has a proper Disney cry meltdown, glass dropping, fling yourself on bed, hands over face in comforter moment. It's just like... every broad brush I can find. It was like, here's a little dash of Jessica Rabbit, and how about a little bit of Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and here she is. Just like, well, there we go.
Yeah,
a woman.
And due to that actual sort of a fact, I'm going to call it, because it is a fact. That's what they've done with the character. I don't like something she does with that power, shall we say. She clearly isn't interested in Arthur because he's a sleazebag. But she does give him not just a kiss, that's a passionate kiss. No wonder the guy's confused. It's not even a goodnight kiss. It's like, whoa.
Well, it's as we are recording over the internet, let me get my internet hat on and play devil's advocate.
Oh, God.
May I play devil's advocate for a moment? I'm just going to do Al Pacino impressions for the rest of the show now. So, he's a tight ass. He's a sadist.
Please do your next outro as Pacino.
Oh, definitely now, yeah. I've been always looking for an excuse to do it that way. You just give me one, John. But no, because everything with Andrea is kind of a performance. So she comes in here.
Oh, yeah.
And she sees that she's already aware that Bruce Wayne's Batman because of the Bruce and seeing like he was by the Wayne's grave for like a split second. Therefore, he must be Batman. And
well, even in the intro to this minute, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but in the intro to this minute, to their interaction, she says like, does she say like she either hates the mask or she likes it? She comments about his mask in a very familiar way and like that, like, you changed your hair, I hate it kind of tone.
Yeah.
But she comes in though and sees that door, like the balcony door, lying open, and there's a reaction on her face. It's clearly like that means. I was kind of wondering like if it's Batman deliberately left that open as an indication of like she'll figure out that I'm in the room. But like, who else would be up here at this? Who can get into the room from the outside? It would have to be Batman. And either he did that deliberately as a kind of signal of like, I want to talk to you, and so this is my subtle way of doing that. Or if we haven't seen, there were several flashbacks. We didn't see if Bruce Wayne was born in a barn. But there could well have been a flashback that was cut of Martha Wayne giving birth on a bale of hay.
That's where he developed his manners from. I think because he is the drama. I think if anything we've learned about Bruce Wayne is that he is just the drama.
That is his motto is I am vengeance, I am the drama.
I am the drama, darling.
Yeah, and he says it while wearing opera gloves and holding one of those big cigarette holders. But I like to picture that he went back and forth in his mind about whether or not to leave this window open. He's like,
he kept opening it and closing it.
Exactly. He's like, if I leave it open, she'll definitely know that I'm here. But if it's closed, she won't suspect anything. But no, I want her to know that I'm here. No. I lurk in the shadows. I am the night.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that was going to be my question to both of you. I think you've kind of answered it. Was do you think she instantly knew what that meant? I get the impression that she does, and that's another reason she gets rid of Arthur.
The thing, everything was happening here in my eyes is she comes in, sees that line open, knows Bruce is definitely in here.
Yeah,
and then she would have been like, "Well, see, Arthur's slam the door in his face," but because they've got like a contentious relationship. That kiss she gives him, even that she does a proper exaggerated, like
that's
she's
the
kissing
bit I
him.
didn't like. Yeah, I thought that was leading him on, is that the passion behind it. But maybe it's for
she's doing that
to annoy him, but it's also for Bruce.
It's 100% just to get the Bruce. She doesn't give a crap about Arthur. It's all for Bruce. My thing is, why? Because what did Bruce Wayne ever do to you? Like, you left him. We were getting married. And you pissed off. You just left, you returned the ring and just said, left with dad, too young, need time, forget about me. Shattered the whole guy's heart, and now, he's in the room. I better kiss this other guy to make him jealous.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the rest of the next 2 minutes is her just being an asshole to Bruce Wayne. She destroyed this man, and now she's coming in as if like, well, I guess we got beef, assholes. Like, what did he do to you? He didn't do anything.
No, that is a good point, because in other things you'd be able to say, well, she would have the beef because, he couldn't be with her because he's Batman. But that wasn't the case in this story.
No,
he wasn't Batman yet.
Bruce Wayne is a complete innocent. It was not often that we can call Bruce Wayne a complete innocent.
Usually we hate him.
Usually it's always like, his hero or whatever. It's all his fault. Like, he keeps saying he's not killing people, but he's definitely killing people, like, et cetera, et cetera. But this is the one time where you're like, no, she has no... I don't want her to come over like, oh, Bruce, I'm so sorry. But she's just like, she's just got the shield up already. They're like, all right, dickhead. All right, let's dance. It's like,
so what you're saying, Niall, is you're a men's rights activist.
Yes, this is... Bat MRA activist group. And,
oh no, I don't even want to joke about
it. The thing is, though, so I say that as a man, but Alexia, what was your spin on if you were like, she left this guy out of nowhere? Like, she had a reason. She had legitimate good reasons. Her dad was been hunted down by the mob. They had to leave. Mm-hmm. But then why has she been so abrasive with him? Like, why isn't she like, what is this? Does it make sense to you in any way, or?
No, it doesn't. I don't understand, but it's common. It's a big old trope, and I wish it made sense to me because it doesn't.
You know what I think it is? I'm obviously the only one with the correct answer since I'm non-binary. I'm in the middle of.
And you're British. I'm British, so I know things.
I know everything. I think it could potentially be, like, looking at tropes and things like that, she knows that she still loves him, and he probably still loves her. So it's to drive a wedge between them, because she knows, well, we can't be together because of what they're both doing, with their lives, independently of each other. So I think it's to push him away.
I mean, that makes sense. She's like, I'm too busy. We should point out that line too, because when Arthur's coming on and doing the whole like, stay up, talk for a while, she does do the line of, oh, Arthur, I've got a killer day tomorrow, because she's planning to go kill Sal Valestra.
We see what she did there.
Yeah, but that could be, that might be a legitimately, that's the read, the Arthur read on the scene, is that I'm too busy killing mobsters. I can't allow myself to fall in love with Bruce. Or again, it could also be a thing of like, I know, like, I'm in the wrong, kind of. So I'm putting up a shield instantly, just I don't be vulnerable to this whole thing, because otherwise it's just going to be a big emotional mess, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to be like, asshole. All right, what? Let's get into the beef.
I was originally going to make a reality TV joke, but to answer the question seriously, I guess, I think that it's partially that, Niall, but I also think part of it is that she knows that any kind of emotional attachment, romantic or otherwise, is an impediment to her agenda.
Yeah.
And, it's not to say I think that's correct, because, I think that, you look at any portrayal of Batman, really, he does the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where
with
it's
everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It's a sort of, any kind of emotion is a distraction. I'm not allowed to be close to people. And when, especially in, particularly her case where she's on an extremely specific, very violent mission that's taking place within a short period of time, that brusqueness to me sort of makes sense, where it's kind of like, I literally do not have time for any of y'all's shit. I don't have time for love. I don't have time for hate. Well, actually, I have all the time in the world for hate. But, it's like, I don't have time for love. I don't have, it's like, it's almost like I don't even have time to deal with whether or not I love you now or loved you then. I don't have time in my head right now to consider that. Yeah. And I think because he's not on a time crunch, he's not like, I got to kill these 5 guys by morning. He's more able to kind of weave that around and figure out, like, why are you here? Why are you being this way? What is your agenda? And she's like, I can't even entertain whether or not I trust you right now. I have to do, and there's not enough time. Out.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. No, makes total sense. Makes total sense. I also, and I think this adds into my personal fan theory, that everything she's doing with Arthur Reeves too is that she's totally planned to kill him as well. In that he was the one who sold out her dad to the mob.
Yes.
He helped her out with the election campaign, and then when he ran out of money, he just turned to the mob and were like, "You give me money if I tell you where Andrea Beaumont's dad is? All right, they're over there." And I think this is all part of it too. Like, she wants to leave this guy. She could have just come into town, done things under the radar, never shown her face or anything. But she made a point of like meeting up with Arthur Reeves to give him balls as blue as the streak in his hair, to toy with him for like a week, thinking he's going to get some, and then she's just planning to kill him.
Yeah.
She's toying with every part of him that doesn't matter to him.
Yeah, yeah. And I love the animation as she's just like, okay, well, see ya. And just the little look in his face as he's walking away of just like, ugh. Like you can tell, you just see that little moment of frustration where he's just like, I kind of, because the kiss also is like, I don't think he would go away because I think he's the type who would be like, no, he'll cling on until she's like, get the hell away from me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's a sleazebag.
But I think she also, the kiss was for Bruce. We should also point out too, with the hilarious, as she's kissing him, they cut to the random shot of the dark corner where presumably Batman is there going, good.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't have the little eyes squinting there, just like,
like the Cheshire Cat.
Yeah.
But I think it is also too to kind of keep Arthur like, okay, I can't be too abrasive with him. I have to keep making him think that he's got a chance here because she wants to toy with him even more. She's getting free dinners out of him. But
that's all right then.
Yeah, notably too, she's wearing the same dress that she wore to dinner the other night too. So she's like, I'll go with the free dinners. I'm not like sprucing myself up in different outfits every night for him. Like, so I know I don't need to because the guy's he will literally drink out of my shoe if I asked him to. But I'm just going to toy with him.
It's interesting because again, speaking of like tropes again, it's like we've seen this before where it's like woman needs proximity to man, uses sexuality, but it's because it works. Yeah.
And
it does.
It's another famous line from Frasier. Where like, I think Daphne's saying like, oh, it's always the woman, using sex to get what they want. How come it's never the man? And Frasier's just like, how can we use sex to get what we want? Sex is what we want. So it's just like, it's like, it is one of those things like the men, they'll always follow what's in their trousers more than anything else. But then we get into, so Arthur's been dismissed. Love this little thing of Andrea going over and like, I guess Batman's standing holding his breath or whatever because just goes over and turns on the light and he's just right there, right beside her face.
And she gives him the exact same look that people give their pets when they come home and they've gotten into the food before they should have. That's the look she gives him isn't even like, what are you doing in my house? It's just like, I am so disappointed in you.
Well, it's a weird thing. Like the person you were going to marry. And you're just like, you know what? I'm going to break into her house and wait for her in the dark.
And have a silent brood in the corner.
There was part of me thinking, was this supposed to be these scenes originally done in a different order? Because, like, okay, so this is all stuff like, we've been doing it minute by minute, so I'm trying to map this out in my head. Batman's excuse for coming to interrogate her is like, look at this picture I found of your father in Sal Valestra's house. Sal Valestra is linked to these gangster murders. You're in town, your dad's in the picture, what's the deal with this? That would be fair enough if that was his initial, that's why he was like following her and stuff.
Couldn't he have just come around and knocked?
He could have. But we know from earlier in the movie that like as soon as he saw Andrea next to her mother's grave, when he didn't even know who Sal Valestra was. It was scenes later where he's like, Sal Valestra. Mm-hmm. As soon as he saw her, he started tailing her. He was like, the next scene is him in the pouring rain with binoculars looking at her having a dinner. So he was totally creeping on her. He had no excuse for following her there. She was just like, oh, she's back in town. I have no reason to suspect her of any criminal involvement.
No, he was just following her to be a perv.
Yeah, he was just doing full-on emo Bruce stuff of like, oh, that's my ex, and look at her. She's having a happy dinner with someone else, and look at me out here in the rain by myself. But it's only now that he has the picture where he's able to go like, look, your dad's in this thing. Like,
I had justification all along.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how she takes off her shoes for a second?
Means.
Because I have never taken off a shoe of any kind, held it up in the air, and then just dropped it with disdain. That's such a weird thing to do. And then when she stands up to get a drink, she has her eyes closed. She's going to run right into him. Like, what are all these weird gestures? Also, the way he hands her the photo is also abnormal. It's just like, this is a series of abnormal reactions by two people who are both expecting each other to be there and completely surprised the other one is there. It's
that was also a thing too, like Bruce Scarpard, she came over and saw like he had to run away from his parents' grave. And she was like, Bruce? But he's gone at that point. So he might be going like, oh, she doesn't know that I'm Batman, though. He's like, I'm going to go all Batman on her. And then when she shows up, she's like, no, so we meet again. Like, it's like,
nice cape,
like,
loser.
Yeah. I do love that idea, though, too. Like, a nice cape. I'm not so sure about the mask, though. Right. It's just like, have you seen that guy, Casey Jones from the Turtles? He's a pretty cool mask. If I was to wear not saying I ever would, but if I was to wear a mask, I think it would be something much more similar to that. And then if they did get back together, she'd just keep dressing Bruce in capes all the time. He's just out on the like out on the veranda with like a little white frilly cape and stuff. It's like, yeah, well, this is what the missus puts me in, every day. Go from Alfred dressing him.
Just replace all of his coats with capes.
I want a closet full of capes. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, just full on Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, I want to live like Lando.
I want to be
Lando.
Yeah, I want to return to that where it's acceptable to wear a hooded cape about.
Yeah. Well, frequent guest of the show, Dale Kingsmill.
Hey.
She's living that dream, because when she was on this season, she was just talking about her cape collection. She's like, I wear capes out to everything. I have many capes. I was like, awesome.
I started sewing recently, and I'm wondering if I should just start making capes, like big billowing capes, and just wear them to the market.
Yeah,
or the supermarket, grocery store. What year is this?
Mm-hmm. She's doing like almost like I'm pairing capes with crop tops and everything. I was like, do they go together? She's like, I'm making them go together.
Yeah, like I don't know if they do, but now they do.
Yeah, damn right.
I'm pairing them with Crocs.
Just bring it all full circle.
You've been suckered into this new generation, John. It only took, 50 minutes?
Oh, God, nearly an hour. Oh, my God. Yes.
Yeah,
we'll move on. I have a question before we sort of wrap things up.
No.
When she says she knows nothing about her father's connection to all these gangsters.
Yeah.
Right. That has to be a lie, right? Because
she says it way too quickly for that to be a truth.
Exactly. She says it super fast, and she seems to know a lot about all of this, especially later on with when we find out who she is. So she must know everything.
Oh no, she 100% knows what's happening here. I just love Bruce's reaction though, of just like, have you ever seen this before? No. But that's your father. Like, I've seen every picture of my parents in the whole world. Like, what do you mean? You must have seen it before. It's a picture of your dad's. Like, my dad probably took many pictures that I haven't seen, man. Like, I don't obsess over my parents like you do. I guess he secretly does.
Sick burn.
One thing I'm just gonna plant the seed, because I'll get back to it in later episodes. But I'm just trying to sort out like how and when Andrea susses out that like the Joker's a guy I need to go after. Like when she's showing this picture, does she in her mind put on the red pencil around his lips there and go like, oh, that's the Joker, I better go after him next? Or at what point? It's like, because if you try to, it's one of those things I guess you're not supposed to do this really, but like you're supposed to just accept what they're giving you. But I think like later within this movie, we've seen that Batman was unaware of the Valestra mob, like until he was sitting at the back computer going like, oh, these old guys are these are all gangsters together. What the hell? And then later on in like the show's continuity, they do a flashback to the Joker becoming the Joker, and they mention that like he was part of the Valestra mob. His name was Jack Napier and stuff. And I'm guessing Batman's like updated his files or whatever. But if he didn't know who the Joker was prior to this, how did Andrea Beaumont know that guy became the Joker? Like, at what point was she just like, oh, that freaky clown guy running around Gotham, is that the guy who killed my dad? Like, when did she suss that out? Like, did she recognize? Did she see him on the news? She see a picture of the Joker and be like, "That's the guy." Like, what? At what point did it come up to her? Because Batman didn't know. Like, he always susses out by getting out a red pencil, going like, "Wait a minute, that guy's the Joker. What the hell?" But yeah. So I'm planting that seed there because I think we'll be coming back to it later in the. But I'm choosing to believe that she saw the picture right now and was like, "Huh, oh." That guy looks familiar. I guess I know who my next target is.
I think you might be onto something. She's portrayed as very smart in this movie. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the photo now. I Googled it so I could take a look at it. And yeah, I don't know if maybe, because she did only look at the photo for like 1 second. To be fair, she only gave it a cursory glance. So maybe she didn't quite put it together now, but at least I'm imagining timeline-wise by now she's starting to figure it out. Because as you're saying, she's smart. She's already figured out who at least two of these three guys she needs to get are. It's sort of like, I don't know. I feel like by now she must have at least had a lead on him, especially considering how prominent Joker is as a crime figure.
But yeah, the thing is, when they capture the Joker, then initially, like when the Joker first became a threat to Gotham, they'd be like, "This guy is Jack Napier. He's a lone mob associate." I guess though they still wouldn't be like, but he's linked to the Valestra mob, because they don't know what the Valestra mob is at this point. Because Batman doesn't know what the Valestra mob is. It starts getting into like a little weedy, like it gets into the weeds a little bit of like.
You have to start writing down the lore and charting it out.
Yeah, we're going to turn into one of those guys on YouTube who does like 50-minute videos about like, this is the timeline of according to this comic. We're like, we delve into that a little bit. That isn't this show. You'll get people breaking down Batman's teenage years in painstaking detail elsewhere. But, it's a I'm curious about but yeah, that's all stuff because we flat out get a flashback to her meeting Jack Napier later. So,
Yes,
so we'll deal with it all then. But I'm noted out for minute 41. Unless anyone else has any notes specific to this minute.
No, I have more to say about their conversation, but that's the next minute.
Yeah. So we will head off into the dark, dark night. Alexia, would you like to tell people where they can find you or your show online or anything you want to promote? Promote anything.
Sure. My show is called Titanic Talkline. I talk to people who are obsessed with Titanic, the movie, and the ship, so everybody is welcome. You can find me on anywhere that there are podcasts. And soon I am starting a new podcast where we're watching my way with a friend through the Disney animated films, and I'm having a mental breakdown each time. Some of the early movies are so boring, you guys. But you can find me just like crying about how boring early Disney is soon.
Weirdly enough, I started doing the same thing.
Did you?
And the things I remember watching Snow White, been like, this is death.
God. Dude, Snow White is so boring. Nothing happens in that movie. Nothing happens.
But the thing is, though, the shocker to me was, like, I was like, okay, Pinocchio, let's do it. And then after Pinocchio, I was like, that was amazing. That was like one of the best animated movies I've ever seen.
It's so weird.
And then went back into, like, Bambi. I was like, oh, God.
There's these movies that come after Bambi and Dumbo. They're like, the Three Caballeros and Saludos Amigos and Make Mine Music. I just like, these are all the movies that I didn't even want to watch when I was a kid because they looked boring, and now I have to watch it as an adult, which is worse.
You chose this life.
But I will pause my rewatch, so then when your podcast comes out, then I can do it along with you.
You totally can. That's going to be coming out soon. It's called Damsels Who Discuss. It's me and my much smarter friend Gally, where she tries to rein me in as I lose my mind about how boring these movies are and tries to keep me on track as I scream.
Amazing. Sounds great. Check all of that out. And as usual, speak to us on Facebook at the Bat-Minute Listeners Cave, Twitter at Bat-Minute. Yeah, you better bloody do it or we're coming for you. We're going to cut you off. You're not going to get any more episodes unless you sign up.
I will ride an iceberg to you.
Instagram, or just go on all of them and check out our network, Sleepy Charlie Media, on let's think. TeePublic today. Let's plug the TeePublic. Buy some merch. Get me and Niall's cartoon visage on your cushions so you can sit on our faces.
Yeah.
And
we five different iterations of our faces at this point. So
yeah. There's plenty to choose from. Different versions of us. Different hats on Niall.
Oh no, it's all the same hat.
Well, do all that and join us again next time for more Bat-Minute of the Phantasm.
Next time, I've got Batman in my boudoir. Hooah! A jilted vigilante jabbers with the one that got away, while Andrea slings sass like, "Yas, queen, slay." Now that's some slang that'll date this outro like milk. Oh! The Bat leans hard to make his ex spill some dirt. But will a parent-based rebuttal hit our boy where it really hurts? There's a Dog Day Dark Night coming on Friday, Bat fans. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
I
mast tabt upp, styrfid tabitane.